Hi there, Nikki and Dan.
Hi.
Hallows Spirit Pursuers. We've come to do a bit of a different type investigation today. We are doing one during the day, as you can see, it's daylight. And we have come to Gressenhall Farm and Workhouse. So we're going to get our equipment out and go and check in. And we'll hopefully pick up on some interesting activity. You never know, we're going to be working our way through different parts of the workhouse. So, catch you later.
Gressenhall Farm and Workhouse formerly served as a house of industry. Under the old Poor Law, responsibility for relief of the poor fell onto individual parishes. In 1774, a group of magistrates of Mitford and Laundage proposed that all parishes combine to build one large house of industry where the poor could be properly looked after and those capable of work could be employed, thus reducing the cost to the ratepayers. In May 1775, the Act of Parliament for the Mitford and Laundage Incorporation was passed. In 1776, Chapel Farm in Gressenhall was purchased and plans for the House of Industry were approved. Construction started early that summer and was completed just over a year later. Unfortunately, the House of Industry proved to be less profitable than had hoped, and this contributed to a decision to obtain a second Act of Parliament in 1801, where East Dereham left the incorporation and new arrangements were made for meeting the expenses of the house. The first governor of the House of Industry was James Moore, and his wife was matron. Those that resided at the House of Industry were referred to as inmates. The number of inmates between 1777 and 1794 averaged about 450, with the highest being 670 in 1801. Married couples were able to live together in the cottages or apartments. Women of bad character, however, were kept apart and had to wear distinctive clothing. This was later abolished in 1839. During the summer months, inmates were expected to start work at 6 a.m. They were allowed half an hour for breakfast and stopped for lunch at noon. At this time, they had an hour and a half for their break. After lunch, they worked through until 6 p.m. Bedtime was 9 o'clock. During the winter months, these times were adjusted, with lunch breaks being shorter to gain extra hours of work during the day. Work for the inmates ranged from working in the fields to textile manufacturing. In the 1800s, the manufacturing of sacks became the significant source of employment and earnings. The Provisions Act of 1775 meant that inmates were allowed to keep a portion of their earnings, whereas working children were given small rewards for their work. Children at the workhouse were known to work with domestic tasks and did receive some education. A new poor law was introduced during 1834. This meant inmates were categorised, resulting in the separation of husbands and wives. At this stage, only the destitute would seek admission. During May 1836, the incorporation ended. At this point, the Mitford and Laundage Poor Law Union was formed. Alterations were made to the workhouse, which saw the creation of separate yards and high boundary walls, with the married people's cottages being turned into dormitories. During the economic depression of the 1840s, inmate numbers rose at the workhouse, but by 1850, less than half of the workhouse was full. Those being admitted during this time were mainly the old, sick, disabled, unmarried or deserted women, and orphan children. Life for inmates was hard and very repetitive. Workhouse dress was a requirement. Unmarried mothers were made to wear a jacket, and they later became known as jacket women. By this time, work patterns were similar to before. However, women worked in the kitchens, the infirmary, and the laundry, and men worked in the gardens. By this time, there were very few able-bodied men in the workhouse except for casuals. Casuals were made to break stones, pump water, and move gravel. By 1854, these tasks were replaced with oakum picking. That's separating fibres to be sold as caulking. Education for children under the new system saw standards improve. Boys were taught shoemaking, tailoring, farming, whereas girls were taught needlework and knitting. By the end of the 1800s, the number of children at the workhouse had fallen. Meals for inmates after 1836 had become very bland. By 1856, and to the end of the 1800s, children's meals and adults' meals had by far improved. Discipline at the workhouse was very strict. Punishment for minor offences saw inmates confined in a separate room for up to 12 hours on a diet of just bread and water. By 1853, Cherry Tree Cottage was built, allowing aged married couples to live together. This was the first relaxation in the segregation of sexes. The chapel was then later opened in December 1868. Poor law inspectors were required to carry out regular inspections of the workhouse, and it was this that led to improvements during 1895 and 1902 in the infirmary, the kitchens. It also requested the construction of proper drainage with the supply of hot water and the building of the steam laundry. By 1948, the National Assistance Act brought to an end the poor law. Gressenhall, however, continued to provide accommodation to the elderly until 1974. In 1975, the site was transferred to the Norfolk Museum Service, and the following year opened as Gressenhall Farm and Workhouse to the public.
So, Nikki, Hallows Spirit Pursuers in Gressenhall, come through into the main workhouse, going through the exhibits, get my teeth in, and we've come across this exhibit, which is, or would have been used, the large coffin. Put the EMF on top and watch the readings. This thing keeps going off. Is there anybody here that would like to communicate with us? Anybody linked to this coffin?
Final question. Children only started being taught to write.
You have been making the EMF go off.
A, 1834. B, 1833.
Please make the device flash.
1836.
Once for yes, if you are here and you would like to communicate. Wow, thank you very much. That's a really high reading. Thank you. Okay, can you make the EMF stop? Okay, you took the words out of my mouth. Thank you very much. So this is communication.
Children only started being
EMF
taught to write. In what year?
As I get closer to the coffin. Can you see it? It's reacting.
1833.
Anything electrical in there, you've got the high and the ceiling, so it literally has to be right up Thank you very much for communicating with us. We're sorry if we're disturbing your rest. This is really interesting, and people don't like doing investigations during the day. In fact, I think this is the highest I think I've ever seen. My EMF went to maximum a minute ago, Dan. It went complete to max. Nothing on yours? No?
It's died. Stop.
That's going again.
Married.
Married.
Dangerous.
What's dangerous? Is it dangerous here?
Slave.
You're a slave. This was a workhouse.
So you've obviously been following me about. I was about to get my spirit box out of my bag.
5.
Paratech turned itself on in my pocket, which was pretty much impossible because my phone was locked. Since turned it on, and we have up and the number 5. Let me just see, just check something quickly on the map. Quartz. Okay. Oh, quartz. Really should wear my hearing aids. The laundry is number 19. Did wonder if it had any relevance to the map, but it doesn't.
Inches.
Up 5 quartz inches. Okay, I'm just going to end this session.
Scanning stopped.
Thank you very much. Let me screenshot that. I'm actually going to get, shut everything down, turn it off, put it in my pocket. Let's turn out and spirit box.
Are you still working here? Are you running the machinery?
Nicky and Dan, Gressenhall Workhouse, in the laundry room. doing EVP session and spirit box session. If there's anybody here that would like to communicate with us, please speak to us through the device in my hand. Can you tell us your name? Can you say that a little bit louder, please? Can you say something again for me, please? Are you tasked to undertake work there in the laundry? Can you tell me your name, please? Is your name Mabel?
Why are you still here?
I do have another device in my right hand. If you feel more comfortable speaking into that. Mabel, how do you feel that you had to work up until 2 months before you gave birth to your baby? I bet moving these drying racks was really hard work. They look really heavy. You're trying to come through. Can you try a little bit harder for us, please? Please communicate with us. We mean you no disrespect. We'd just love to hear from you. Okay. Maybe we need to use the EM pump in here. It's a bit flat. I'll get the EM pump out and we'll try again. Basically what the EM pump does is it creates its own electromagnetic field, and we know that spirits use electromagnetic energy to communicate with us, and this little device basically does that for us. Obviously if we've been here in the dark, dark creates fear, fear creates energy, and that energy is what spirits use to communicate, manifest, that kind of stuff. But with it being during the day, I'll plonk this down on the floor. Okay, that's on. It's gone off. There it is. That's all. I'll just show you quickly the EMF meter. So there you go, that's the field it's creating, and that's generating its own energy. And that field stops here. And it's basically in a circular type motion. Okay, so let's try the spirit box again. Is anybody here that would like to communicate with us? I've basically given you some energy to use. Please come forward and speak into any of the devices in my hands. We'd love to hear from you. Can you tell me your name? I literally just saw something in the corner of my eye move that way. It's like it was running down the other end of the laundry. Going to the door, I believe it was. Did I just see you run out of the laundry room door? Will you speak to me? Meaning no disrespect. Are you caught throwing bread over the wall? To your son? this session in here. I think we need to move to a different area. Thank you to anyone that has attempted to communicate with us. Okay, Nikki and Dan, Gressenhall, Farm and Workhouse. We've come into the laundry. We've been doing various different sessions in here. I've just got my seismo out. Now I'll just explain quickly what this does. It basically detects vibration. So you can see I'm tapping it very lightly and it's detecting vibration. It's basically, it will light up with any type of vibration in the area it's sat. Now what I've done is I've popped it down where these drying racks are, because these are majorly heavy pieces of equipment, and pulling those out would have created some kind of vibration in the floor. So I popped it down in the hope that perhaps we can pick up some type of vibration from any type of spirit that may still be here working in the laundry, hanging there, washing up to dry on the racks. So if there is anybody here with us, can you pull one of these racks out for us, just to make my device go off, to prove that you are still here working? My name's Nikki. What's your name? Just so you're aware, Dan is running SLS, which also has like a ITC type device on it as well.
What is your name?
My name's Nikki. What's your name? Pull a rack out for me. Make the rack move. Okay, I think we will try this device somewhere else a little bit later. Maybe in the chapel or in the boardroom, or maybe the schoolhouse.
If there's anyone here, can you show yourself, please? Step in front of the camera. Hello.
anyone here that would like to communicate with us, please tap on the table and make the size mail go off. It detects vibrations. Just so viewers can see what it does, I shall tap on the table. It goes on. I believe we are in the boardroom. Is Reverend Benjamin Barker here?
Please knock on the table.
Where the children were walking. It will detect me, so I move away. Let me just set that one. Would the children like to come in for class, please, and take your seats? Come along, we haven't got all day. Your parents are busy working, we need to give you some education. Don't run, walk. Come in and take your seats, please. EDP session, Nicky and Dan in the schoolhouse, Gressenhall, 23rd May. Come along now, come and take your seats. I want to start the lesson. We're going to look at the alphabet today. Run up and down for me, so I know you're here. Can you do that for me? And make the size mode light up. It'll go a lovely purple colour. And make a little noise. I'll show you what I mean, so you can attempt to copy me. Come on, copy me. Can you copy what I just did and run past that device for me?
Go on, you can do it. Hello? Can you speak to us? You're near the device. You keep coming and going. That table there. Yeah. Has gone now.
I've got another device here, which lights up when you come near it. Oh, you're doing a really good job. Can you make it light up some more so it goes red? Can you do that for me? Or you can just come and say something to this little device here. Like your name, perhaps? Your age? Ooh, okay. Right, about here? Isn't this where you were tracking?
Just, I'm now getting it as you doing that.
Okay. Really interesting because Dan is tracking something on the SLS and the EMF is also picking up a reading in the same area.
They just touched it.
It touched it and it went off.
Yeah.
Can
They're
you
trying
touch
to.
this device for me again? And hold it to make it go red. Can you do that for me? Go on. Show me your hair. Go on. We mean you no disrespect. You still tracking it? So go on.
Oh, something just over the back there. Can you go to the device at the back there and set that off?
Go and just tap a black and white device near the door. Can you do that? REM basically acts like an EMF detector.
I put it down there. I put it down there where we were seeing the figure.
Down here?
Yeah, yeah. Just about there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That.
We've been getting some readings on EMF. Dan has detected skeletal figure on the SLS, the structured light sensor camera that he's got. We've got dictaphone running for EVP, and we're also recording. We've got the seismo just down near the door, so if anything does come through the main entrance, it will flash and light up and make a noise. Are you going to come a little bit closer for us and set one of the devices off? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Wow, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. EMF. Thank you. Wow, thank you very much.
Can you set the other one off just near you?
Can you set the REM pod off? The device on the floor with the little aerial? Or the EMF again? Whichever one you prefer.
Spectral evidence of not betters.
The devil makes work for idle hands.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
We already know that children should be seen and not heard. So come and show yourself, please, by touching one of these devices. Can you do that for us, please? Okay, we've come to the chapel. Gressenhall. We've got the seismo right, because as you know, it detects vibration. Alice box, we have her. I'd like to start. Okay. Basically, Alice box is another ITC device. It's like a bank of words that spirits can use to communicate with us. We can turn it on now. I should leave it running. Dictaphone out as well, and as well. Down, Gressenhall. 23rd May, we are in the chapel. I have got the size file, EMF, and we are running Alice box. If there's anybody here that would like to communicate with us, please use any number of the devices we have available. Ceiling. What about the ceiling? It's pretty spectacular. Heard ceiling elements. I don't know if you can see that. Alice box is playing up again, just like it did at the Battle of Gressenhall. What I'll do is turn this so the light doesn't reflect in it. The light doesn't reflect in it. Heard. What do you mean by heard? And we don't mean as in here. To me that represents possibly the farm, because there is a farm here at the workhouse. What would you like to tell us about you living here at the workhouse? Would you come into this chapel for services, perhaps? Or perhaps for funerals? What would you like to tell us? Live, live, however you want to interpret that. You lived here, did you? Did you live here? Is that what you're trying to tell us? I'm going to place the dictaphone over there. Did you live here with your family? Were you a segregated family? As in, men were separated from women and children. Victoria. Is that your name, Victoria?
Victoria, can you just set off the device on the floor? All you have to do is tap it.
Or the EMF beside me. I might actually move that so you can get that on camera down. Thank you for communicating with us. Who else is here with you, Victoria? Any children? So far nothing has triggered the seismo device on the floor, which detects vibration. Would you like to trigger the seismo for us? Just to let us know you are actually here? You might need a lot of energy for that though. Graveyard. east. Is the graveyard to the east of the chapel? Will we find your headstone there, Victoria?
Can you go have a look?
We'll go and have a look. Thank you very much for communicating with us. We do appreciate this. Well, so far I have to say, I don't know what you think, Dan, he's filming me from the opposite side of the chapel. Considering we are here during the day, we've actually got quite a lot of activity. See if we can find any headstones, and we will keep an eye out for one with your name on. Do you think you'd be able to give us possibly a surname to help with this? I'm sure Victoria was quite a common first name. But if you can, give us a surname, perhaps? Alone. You're alone? I'm so sorry that you're alone. Is it you don't want to be left alone? You don't want us to leave? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Provider. Yes, families would come here to provide for their families. Poor families would come here to work. Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Who is Jackie? We've now got somebody else come through. Or is that your surname? I really have no clue. Dean. Hello, Dean. We've got another person come through. Victoria, Jackie and Dean. Hello. Earth. This is Earth, yes. You might want to turn your SLS on. Ago. Soup. Okay. Soup is what you had for your meals? From what I understand, your meals were very basic and you were very, very lucky to be given proper cooked food. It was a luxury. So we have Victoria, Jackie and Dean. Would any of you like to say any final words to us before we move on? But we really do thank you for communicating with us. We really do appreciate it, and of course we mean you no disrespect whatsoever.
I just have one question. The name Dean is quite a new name, not an old name.
Yes.
However, Dean could be meaning the Dean of the church, which actually was a cleric holding in certain positions
English.
in the religious hierarchy.
Got the word English. How is Dean spelt, as in Dean of the church, though? It's not spelt the same way as a name, is it?
D-E-A-N.
Okay, so were you Dean of the church? Tragic.
Their assistant was called a sub-dean.
Okay, so we've now got the word tragic. Did somebody have a tragedy here? That's Dan setting off the seismo, walking across the chapel. Add. Thank you so much for communicating with us. We really do appreciate it. I'm now going to stop filming, and then I will shut down some of the devices that we have here. But really, thank you very much for communicating with us. Nikki and Dan in the chapel at Gressenhall. We're doing an EVP session, or a spirit box session, should I say. Is there anybody here that would like to communicate with us? Please speak to us through the device on the pew next to me. We did just run the Alice box, and we had Victoria, a Jackie, and we had the word Dean, which could mean Dean of the chapel or Dean as in a name. Would anybody like to speak with us? For those of you that are not familiar with this device, this is a SB7 spirit box, and basically it scans through frequencies, radio frequencies I guess, so quickly that if you get anything audible, it's not radio basically, but spirits can use white noise to communicate, so they can use the frequencies to communicate with us. And as you can see at the minute, it's set to sweep in reverse, 200 milliseconds, so that's basically what a spirit box does. Constant sweeping. But we did just have something come through and I turned it down, which is typical. Can you repeat what you said, please? I'm sorry that I turned it down and didn't hear you. Can you come through and communicate? Tell me your name.
This is the area where they buried the dead. Unmarked graves, just put out here and forgotten about. Earlier on when we were in the church, we got the names Victoria, Jackie, and a name Dean, who could have been the Dean of the church, and it commented on the word East. This could be coincidence, but I have a compass here on my phone, and exactly east from the centre of the actual burial ground is the church. What does that mean? Who knows?
Okay, Nikki and Dan, we are in the orchard at Gressenhall, directed here from our session in the chapel. We're now running a Paratech session.
Yeah.
Paratech, again, is another ITC device where the spirits can communicate with us using banks of words. So far, we have the word or the name Emily, step, Chuck, sample,
Yeah.
scare twice, scandal, telling us to go to the barn. Thank you for communicating with us. We do appreciate it.
Z.
Z. Does that mean you're going to sleep?
You need.
You need. What do I need? Communication we're getting come through on Paratech.
Kate.
Kate. Who's Kate? Hi, Kate. We are running Alice box. Got the EVP out, digital recorder, got the Seismo on the table. We're in the lounge dining area. Dan's running SLS, I believe. Okay. If there's anybody here that'd like to communicate with us, please communicate through one of the devices. Either speak into the digital recorder with the little red flashing light, or use the Alice box and select any of the bank of words, or equally tap on the table and trigger the seismo for us, please, just to let us know you're here. The seismo is over there on the table. We mean you no disrespect and would love to be able to communicate with you. Alive. Who's alive? Would you like to be alive? Can you tell us your name? List. Is your name on a list? If so, which list? Can you direct us to the list? Can you communicate with us? Can you show yourself to Dan? His SLS camera will pick you up in skeletal view. Can you set off the seismo on the table? Can you make it flash purple and sound the alarm for us? Faye. Is that your name, Faye? Hello, Faye. Would you like to show yourself to Dan, please? Do you have a surname, Faye? Was this your bedroom? Just had something else come up on the Alice box. jumped. Who jumped? Language. Oh my days. You got scared, you jumped in the post office, and you swore. Bad language.
Oh shit. Don't do that to me.
Thank you for pointing that out. It must be 4 o'clock. So Faye, were you watching us? Brass.
Brass lady.
So Faye, were you
Lady.
Brass.
Brass lady. There's a brass lady here.
Fire.
You're sitting next to the fire. Just so you're aware, Dan's ITC device is going off as well. Class. I can't even pronounce that. Emmeline? Emmeline? Okay. Lean. It's interesting that you've been watching us and following us about. What was that?
Ray.
Ray?
Yeah.
Bill. Slave. Were you a slave, Bill? Telepathy.
Telephone.
Continued. Continued. Telepathy continued. Excellent. Oops. Metal. I'm actually just going to do a quick experiment. I'm going to move the seismo. That's why you can hear it beeping. I'm actually going to plonk this on the bed. Okay. We'll put the seismo on the bed now. So if anyone is tired and they'd like a little nap,
Yes, please.
then please do sit next to the seismo. And I shall move my digital recorder through into sort of lounge dining area where the fireplace is. So the last word we got on the Alice box was metal. Bed is made of metal. I've moved the seismo to the metal bed. If you want to show us you are really here, then please set off the seismo, the little black and white device that will light up purple and make a funny beep noise. If you can do that for us, that would be fantastic and we'd really appreciate it. Please feel free to use any of our energy to do so. Or you can speak into the device I've laid on the table. The little black device with the red light. Number 9. Number 9. What does that mean? Rot. Okay. Again, if you can give us some sort of direction, whilst we're still here, we will go, look and find, just as we did with the information we received in the chapel. Do you have any messages for anyone? Shift. Would you like to set off the seismo on the bed? Go and lay next to it. Show me you're here. Please. Known. Alice Box says known. Right. Excel. Port. Chill. We are getting loads of words come through on the Alice Box now. Thank you very much for all this information. Okay, I'm just going to pause here for a second. I'm just going to shut down the Alice Box and remove the seismo, and I think we might do a spirit box session in here before we wrap up. If there's anybody here that would like to communicate with us, please come through the spirit box and tell us your name. We had the name Faye come up on the Alice Box. Is Faye here?
Nikki just moved the equipment which should have affected the dictaphone.
Yes. Faye, have you been following us about?
Elbow left the table and gone back on again. Could have affected the chair plate. We've got a flickering light on there. Can you make it flicker higher than green? Can you make it go a bit higher, please? Yep. Yellow. Can you make it go to amber? Please. Yellow. Would somebody like to speak to us? Victoria. Jackie. Anybody who's buried here? The brass lady.
The brass lady.
The brass lady. Who is the brass lady? Is the brass lady the lady who fed her child over the wall and was punished?
Faye, are you here? Can you do that again for me on the EMF, please? Changing the sweep rate.
I've just got a flash at the same time then. Yep. I'm actually getting every so often with this. Can you do it again? No, not doing it now.
Did you live here in Cherry Tree Cottage? Thank you. Who did you live here with? Your family? Can you tell us your name, please? If you have anything final to say to us, please say it now. Thank you for communicating with us. Hi there, Nikki. Dan's in the car. Hello, Spirit Pursuers. We have finished our investigation of Gressenhall. Been a really interesting investigation here during the day. Picked up lots of different things. We've got lots of footage to review. But it just proves you can do a paranormal investigation during the day. I really hope you enjoy everything that we found. Thanks then.